This is Mr. Burley at the York Catholic District School Board. This is a tutorial on Photopea, and I want you to do this one first. I consider this the very first one. I've used Photopea for a while now, and I realized that one of the key elements to learning in this process, and Photoshop and Photopea and so on, is the selection tool. So I'm going to call this tutorial A. I want you to start with this one. And how this works is this. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go File, New. And I'm going to use the Instagram because I'm all about the gram. I would name it, create. Now, file, open in place. I'm going to just choose Dwight here. Open. I'm choosing this one because it's somewhat complicated and it's a good learning tool for the quick selection tool. So shift key down and drag this down, holding the shift key down so it doesn't distort. And there we have Dwight. Now, what I want to do now is I want to click on this tool here. Now you can click W's until you see this here, or you can click here and you can go quick selection tool, which is the one we're going to use here. So this works, there's two different ways. It adds to the selection with the plus and takes away from the selection here. So I want to select Dwight. So say for argument's sake, it selected Dwight and it selected this afterwards. Then I would want to take that out of the selection. That part's the hardest part to kind of get into the head, I think. At least it was for me. So I'm going to go ahead and now I'm going to use the quick selection tool, and the Alt key and your mouse button are your friends here. So I'm going to select, when I go to select, it says you want to rasterize it. Yes, I do. And now I'm going to start selecting. Now, I didn't hold anything down. I just clicked and with the mouse button, and you can see what it's selected here. And it didn't select as much as I would have liked, and it's quite a distance off. So I'm going to go Control Z, and I'm going to hold the Alt key down, and I'm going to click Control Z one more time. I'm going to select somewhere else a couple of times around without holding the Alt key down to see where my best selection comes from. Now, if I do this right now, that's a pretty good selection. You can see it grabbed a lot. It's grabbed all the way around his hair. It's added some stuff in here that we don't want and stuff, but it's pretty good. So that's the initial selection. It jumps, and so you can go that back and forth a couple of times until you get it refined sort of close like this. Then you hold the Alt key down, and we start in this process. We want to start taking things away. So we're going to zoom in and out. We're going to pan up and down with the space bar. We can move down. And now I'm going to hold the Alt key down again. I'm still in this tool, but I want to take this away. I don't want this to be part of his head. And this part is kind of a back and forth thing. You'll click on it, it'll go too far, and then you just, rather than undoing it, you go back and forth between the plus and the minus. That's what I found helps. So I want to take this out of the equation. You can adjust the size of this guy here, depending on how close you are. For right now, this looks good. So notice I'm on the line. So I'm going to start to paint. Now it jumped too far. So now I want to add back, and I'm going to zoom in. I want to add this hair back into the selection. So if I click on here like this, and I start pushing that out, and come up here and start pushing that out, and come across, now it's gone too far. It's okay. Keep going back and forth. Now we can zoom in a bit more. Now let's take that out of the equation. So we're going to come here, and again, this is part of it. See, I'm going to push it back. I can see my thing's not working very well in the black background here. Bear with me for the mouse. Either that or my mouse battery is dying, one of the two. And I zoom out a bit, and you can see it's added. It jumped way farther than I anticipated, but that's okay. Alt key down, click this guy here. Let's make it a bit bigger, and let's get this back into it. Now you see I'm closer there. So now I'm going to make it a bit smaller, holding the Alt key down still, and come into here now. And I'm going to bring this in closer. So I'm going to take that out of the selection. Went too far, no worries. Add that part back in, push it back like this, like so. Go back again and just wipe it around. You'll kind of get the hang of it now. There you go. It's working nice right now. Right there. Refine that edge nicely. Come right up here. Get him out of the way. So I'm kind of painting. Again, I can go with a bigger and smaller brush. I'm going to come back in here at the top. You can see that. I don't want that to be part of it. I can push it. I'm holding the mouse button down, and I'm holding the Alt key down. I want to add that back right there into the selection. So I'm going to add that back by pushing it back up. Am I still stuck on the minus button? Clearly I am. So I'm going to push that back up. Went too far, no worries. back into here. You can hit the Alt Z, or you can do this. Now, the other thing is, if you're doing this, click every so often, because then the undos, if you hold the Alt key down and the mouse button down, you do the whole entire thing, and you click undo, it goes all the way back to the very beginning. So you don't want that, right? I keep looking up there, should be looking down here, the camera's down here. So I'm going to add this back into the selection here. Again, just kind of going like this. Went too far, no worries, just push it, just paint it back. I find it's easier just to keep going back and forth until you get it perfect, and it kind of, I guess, starts to figure out where the pieces are that you want. Let's add this little guy back in a bit more right there. And I'm going to Alt Z that one, sorry, Alt Z, Alt Z. Add it back in. It's not wanting me to do it. Let's zoom right in like that. It's not finding a difference between that, and I'm not sure why. So let's go to the minus and just take it back. Maybe come from the other side. Sometimes it works better, I guess, for coming from the other side. You can see that just did. Okay, that's pretty good there. Up top here, I'd probably get rid of that. Zoom out, you can see what you're up with. It's starting to look good. This part over here, I'm going to get rid of him, so I'm going to come in from that outside. It's looking pretty good. Now, this technique, you would continue going all the way through, all the way around. You can go to his finger here and just have to be cognizant or aware where you're at in terms of adding or subtracting. This, I don't want it part of my equation. I want this down here. So I can go like this. I can go subtract it, and I can go here, and I can bring that out as part of my, you can see it went too far there. Let's grab this back, and let's go back out this way. The back and forth seems to work quite nicely. Went way too far there. Let's take this out of the equation at the top. Sometimes I am using the okay, so now I want to take out some of this. I don't want this part here. There you go. It's looking better. This piece here, lost his ear, did I? Yeah. So I want to subtract this piece here from, so I'm going to paint that down in like this. And you can see, you know, this is a big process. If you want it, like I said before, if you want to do a really nice job, this is the part that really takes the time, and it makes your project look really, really impressive. So I'm just going to keep on painting around like so. Went too far there, no big deal. See, there's a perfect example. You see what I did? I didn't listen to myself. I went way too far with that click, and I should have, so what I should have done, I should have went like this. I want to take this away, right? I should have went like this. I should have. I'm going to make this a bit bigger because it's taking me too long. So and I'm going to bring that hair back. So I'm going to take that out of the selection. Or I guess I should add it to the selection. Okay. So it's an arduous task to keep going and get it good. Now I'm going to come over here. I can see I want this. So you work your way around the fingers. You want all the fingers to be in and so on. You want this shoulder. Now I'm going to show you a little trick, little technique here now before we go any further. I could come down and I could say, I don't want this to be part of the selection here, like so, like that. And I could go back and then add this piece back in. I could say, okay, well, I want this here. And I could go back and forth until I get it refined nicely like that. I could play that out. Or I'm going to undo it. I'm going to show you another thing I can do. So say, for argument's sake, we played around and there's just some things we couldn't get out. So at this point now, going back and forth between holding the Alt key down and the mouse button down and painting back and forth, and you can spend, like I could spend another half an hour or 40 minutes and you get this perfect, the whole period basically, and I could get it perfect, which is what you want to do. But if you get to the point where it just doesn't, you can't get it any further, you do this, you refine edge. now, and it'll bring this up. And the refine edge, you can use two different things. You're probably familiar with this already, but you could paint. So if you notice right now, if I zoomed out, I'm going to move myself up here for a nanosecond. If I zoom out, you can see this shoulder piece here is included, and we don't want it to be included. So we come in here and we take this and we go right across like this. If I add white, you can see what happens. It uncovers underneath, right? If I want to take and I want to include it here, or I don't want it included here. I'm going to take the black and I'm going to come over here and I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to very carefully go down like this, and you'll see it's removed from there. Now I went too far, I took half a shoulder out, which is not what I want to do. I'm going to come in here like this and just very carefully paint it. And I'm going to change the size of the brush so I can get in a little smaller here and I can do a nicer job. And I'm going to zoom in so I can see it nicer. And I'm just going to go right along like this, like so. Now, I've had too many coffees today and it's not working as good as it should, as well as it should. So you could do a nicer job zooming, bringing that in like that. So I'm going to go right here, trying to hold my hand steady. Don't want to go in too far. If you go in too far, it's not a big deal. You just use white and bring it back. So I've got it like this, and now I can get a little bit bigger brush here, maybe like this, and I can come back in here. Well, maybe not that big of a brush. Come back in here like so, and paint this guy out here, being careful not to go down too far. And there and here. And now if you let go, you can see over here, it's looking good. You can see one area, I dove in a little too deep here. Or did I? No, I guess I didn't. That's the way it is. That's the way it is. But I want to get rid of this. So I'm going to paint across there. So you can go around and refine. You can, if you're having trouble with the finger, if there's not enough difference between the two pixels and it keeps jumping, which you see it does, you can come in and fix it up with the paint. So let's just bring this finger in for here. So now is this too big? Probably. Wrong. Shouldn't be using that. Again, same thing. Do a few clicks just so that you have a better option to undo. It doesn't go back as far. That can be frustrating if you go too far and then you're trying to get back. Okay, so now here, I'm going to zoom in. This looks a little odd through here, so I'm going to come in. I'm just going to try to fix that with the gray. And you see the gray blurs it a bit. Go back and forth here a little bit. I'm going to Control Z and just get this. I want to get rid of this piece here. So you can see over here it's looking better. And I want to use the white in here because that's not included. So I'm going to come back and bring my white into there, get those. And now if you zoom out, you can see it's starting to look pretty good. Same thing, just keep on working your way around here and you can see the edges nice and sharp. Now, assuming I'm finished it, I'm not right now, but let's just say I am. You just click here. What I'm going to do in this situation, if you clicked OK, it'll just cut it out. If you click New Layer, and I'm going to click Raster Mask, and then I'm going to click OK. And you can see right here, it's created a raster mask right beside the initial drawing or in the initial image. Okay, thanks for watching. Hopefully this clears things up. I know I found it a little frustrating when I first started doing it, and after just playing with it and playing with it and playing with it, I'm starting to kind of get the hang of it. But it is still, it's almost like a skill. Like it's the kind of thing you have to practice a little while.